Welcome back to the Broad Street Benchwarmers podcast. My name is Adam Den. Ethan Leviditis, Michael Cormelos, and Carter Watson are here with me. And it's a special day, guys. Guys know what day it is?
It's our 100th episode. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's crazy.
that's a big deal.
Yeah, it only took 6 years, but
What's 100 divided by 6?
like
That's
less than 20 per year. But
okay. You know what? That's considering there were about 2 years in between there were about one or two were made. I'd say that's a
yeah,
pretty good deal.
hmm
But yeah, uh, we started this 10th grade, and to be here is a lot of fun. So
yeah.
I'm gonna try to put something together this week that commemorates it all. But we're happy to have whoever's listening. If you've been listening since 10th grade, we are
Leave in
a
You're
little
insane.
scared and very appreciative. So, absolutely. But yeah, we are coming to you today after a huge slew of free agency. We did a whole prediction podcast, and then in typical Benchwarmer fashion, we're gone a week. And there was a bunch of news that came in. So we wanted to come in here and give a little bit of a free agency recap. We're going to talk about the biggest moves, our favorite moves, our least favorite moves, who got better, who got worse, and everything in between. So figured we would start with the biggest news of this free agency. And that news ended up being not news at all, which is kind of why I'm glad we waited a week. And that is Max Crosby, who was supposed to be a Baltimore Raven and is now, as you probably know, not a Baltimore Raven. So wanted to just go around and get our thoughts both on the initial deal and what this means for the Ravens and the Raiders, and what it means now for both of those teams now that there is no deal.
I think it's sort of a blessing in disguise for the Ravens, just because you talked about it when it was rescinded. The Ravens have a lot of needs still, and they needed that 14th overall pick. And for the Raiders, like they are, it's a really weird because they spent all their money and then they have 30 million staying with them.
Yeah.
But for the Ravens, I think they handled it decently. I don't adore the Trey Anderson contract, but he filled his role fine, and they are still in range for Ioane, so I think that's all that matters.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, yeah.
I'll save my comments to a further segment where I have to talk about him.
Yeah, I think that some have argued that the Ravens were intentionally dishonest about his physical, which I'm not going to comment on that, but I do think they were lucky to not have to hold up their end of the bargain for whatever reason that may be. They were able to recoup with Hendrickson, who obviously isn't the same level of player, but still a very good player, and they can hold on to their draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with both of you guys. I think the one thing I will say though, and the reason why, if Hendrickson was, or if Crosby was truly healthy, I probably would still do the deal, is that what he brings as a run defender in a Jesse Minter defense stands out, I think, far above what Trey Hendrickson brings. And I think that's the value of the 2 first-round picks, right? You're getting a guy who can play on all 3 downs versus a guy who's essentially been limited to maybe a later downs player, given, he's such a great rusher, but has struggled so mightily as he's aged as a run defender, and paying the same price, essentially. So I think that's where I get concerned, but I'm in agreement. If there are truly long-term concerns about the structure of his knee, you can't make this deal. And I mean, we look at the numbers, his production has slipped every single year he's been in this league because of him being on the field so much and the how much it has taxed him physically. So I think we'll find out what he looks like for this Las Vegas Raiders squad another year in, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if, it ended up being no impact here. So yeah, that can kind of take us, and we're going to talk a little bit dive into what we thought were the best moves, the worst moves across the entirety of the league, and we can kind of start. We are going to rule out who we thought improved the most across the league, and I mean, Michael kind of foreshadowed it. I think that's where we were going to start, and that was in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I thought the Raiders far and away won the free agency pool at least, given with what happened with Max Crosby and like their signings, like bad O line, go sign one of the best centers in football, and so it was expensive. You got him locked down long term for your rookie quarterback, I would presume at this point. And on defense, they brought in Kobe Dean, they got Kwity Paye, Quay Walker, three very good D linemen / linebackers, like for a team that did not have any good D linemen or linebackers last year, except for Max Crosby. Oh, and by the way, like it feels like he's like an addition to the team now. Like he was gone. And it's like, oh well, now we added a top 10 edge rusher in football to this defense too. Awesome. And all of a sudden you're looking at this defense very differently now, especially with Max Crosby. They don't get the picks, but I think they're in this weird position where they want to compete, but they're not like all in. And I think they're going to be able to compete a little bit. I mean, it's obviously the hardest. It's obviously the best division in the league, and they'll probably still be the worst or the second worst team, depending on if these edge rushers can kill Justin Herbert or not. This we'll get into later, but I think it's a very optimistic look for Vegas, especially knowing that you're bringing in Mendoza.
Yeah.
And they got Connor Hayward.
That's the news we need. No, I'm in
That's the biggest
complete
news.
I'm in complete agreement. I mean, I think, there were a limited amount of teams that were going to be able to offer this to Linderbaum, right? Because of how he needs to fit schematically and just the contract as a whole. I mean, the Ravens likely weren't going to shell out $30 million knowing they have so many needs and so many more important ones for a center. But with the basically monopoly money that the Raiders have, I think this is perfect. He's a perfect scheme fit. He's, it's about building around and making sure your young quarterback is able to develop, and they have solidified their ability to do so, I think, by looking to start solidifying their offensive line. So I'm all for that. And then I really think both linebacker moves. I think Quay Walker could be a little bit of an overpay, but I love Nakobe Dean. And again, monopoly money, right? So I think they're certainly the most improved, and they've created an infrastructure that's going to make it a lot easier for their young quarterback to succeed. So, yeah. Anybody else? We'll go around. Most improved team?
Yeah, for me, I'm going with the Carolina Panthers. Something I've spoken about is the money for Jalen Phillips obviously looks bizarre, but when you look at it in a vacuum, you've added a good ball player. Devin Lloyd is an awesome addition. I think that with the inconsistency they had on defense, it's great to get some help, especially on the edge. I'm excited to see how Phillips does, and I think this is a much improved team.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm in complete agreement. I think, we'll probably talk about Devin Lloyd later, but the combination of his contract with Phillips' contract makes Phillips a little easier to stomach, and this is one of the worst defenses in football a year ago. So for them to get a true number one rusher and look to solidify their defensive line, I think is crucial. Play him right next to Tershawn Wharton, who you shelled out all that money for a year ago. Nick Scordon had a great year. Like, this is starting to look like a much better defense than it did a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It just continues the propaganda that they will most certainly win the South again.
We'll find
They
out.
won the South. Yeah, they won the South this year, right?
They did win the South this year.
I mean, not convincingly, but
Yeah.
They're still probably better
By
than
any means.
every other team in that division right now. Given that the Falcons
Yeah.
don't have a quarterback healthy.
I think
Don't worry.
Tampa's
I'm not
fine.
slandering Michael Penix yet. Don't worry. Tampa won 7 games.
Tampa
And
won
as
9
Jeff,
games.
no, they won. Oh, I think they won 8. I don't think they got to 9. They had a losing record because they
No.
lost. They lost the week before because they tied. It was a
Yeah.
tiebreaker.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
both at 8 and 9, and the Saints kind of sucked though. So
Saints had a good offseason. We'll say. Eighth
they got a
over
new
day
draft
squad.
though, and Cesar Ruiz
All
is
right.
still starting.
Good player.
Yeah, actually, the Saints did have a very. That might change my mind here. Actually, let me double check because the other one.
Okay, I can go.
Yeah, okay. I know. I'll still stay with my team. I was just double
Okay.
checking to see if the Saints were for real. They did good.
Yeah.
My team is the team that made the most moves, not necessarily the best moves. That is the Tennessee Titans. You had to build around Mr. Cam Ward in some way, and they did it. I mean, I'm not saying this is the most improved team. They've just improved by the fact that they have added many players to their team. I think many of them are Eugenio Suarez 1 yard. That's awesome. But yeah, it was very interesting to see how. I mean, we talked about how it's like the 2016 NBA offseason where Alan Crabb's getting $70 million a year.
Yeah.
And geez, was that the big Nick Batum contract?
Yep.
That it's this is one of
Nothing
those
else,
years
though.
in the NFL when the cap increases by 30 million and then teams don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And but the Titans, it was certainly a mixed bag. I mean, I think their best signing is John Franklin Myers, 3-year, 63 mil, solid player.
Good signing.
Fits well with Jeff Simmons, but then you get to a role of just okay, Alante Taylor getting $20 million a year, Cordell Flat getting about $15 million a year, and then Wando Robinson getting almost 20. So this is not to say that they are going to make the playoffs. I don't really think so. I mean, unless they absolutely dominate the draft. But
It's a team that just needed a lot of roster strength.
They needed a lot. They needed a wide receiver. They needed help in the secondary, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
These are all players that if you said okay, like going into last season, Wando Robinson's getting $78 million in free agency, you'd be like, oh, how? But
Hey,
that's
good receiver.
what happens when you have the second most cap space in free agency, and I'm quite negative on the Devontae Sweat for Jermaine Johnson trade, but Solid just seems to want his guys, and that seems to be a common theme across this free agency. And Davo wants his guys.
Everybody needs their guys.
So so we need Daniel Bellinger and Wanda Robinson. It's I don't know. We'll see. It's like they I think they legally have to spend this money. They got to reach I think 90% of the salary cap.
Yeah.
So these contracts are inflated, but yeah, I can almost understand it. But
they are now the third best team in the division.
Man,
I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean,
possibly.
No way.
If the coaching isn't as much of a train wreck as it was last year, the Titans could be.
If a certain quarterback is not healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm with you. I do think they are better by brute force, if you will. The secondary had a lot invested in it. They've got invested a lot. Jermaine Johnson is a big move. I love John Franklin Myers. I think he's a great player, even if that was a lot of money. It's just, you raise the floor of the defense, but I'm not sure what the ceiling is because these are almost all replacement level players, right? We're going to talk about Taylor and Flott in a minute. We can talk about Jermaine Johnson now. Like, these are guys who I don't think are necessarily like, plus starters necessarily. They're just not the guys that you had in like L'Jarius Sneed last year, my guy. So it's tough for me to advocate for this. But it's a good coaching staff. So the hope, I guess, is that you bring them in and they're able to develop into something greater. So yeah, my most improved team is the New York Jets, Jets Jets. This was.
You suck.
Huh?
You suck.
Why do I suck?
Can you just please relax on Geno Smith in 2026?
This is great. And this isn't about
You
Geno
wanted him
Smith.
dead after week 4 last year.
I did, and he was terrible.
I could find the receipts to say how bad you thought he was.
And he was awful.
Yeah, he's gonna be awful again.
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Bro, dude,
now
it's on par with how terrible the Raiders offense was. Like, stop.
The Las Vegas Raiders offense was an absolute train wreck.
So was the New York Jets.
Yes. I think there is a lot.
290 yards.
I think there is a lot to like about the pieces on the New York Jets offense if they're coached correctly. The issue, which I will get to in a second after I talk about the free agency moves, is that there is a guy who is coaching them who I think is an absolute monster and will probably lead to all of this being destroyed. However, Garrett Wilson is awesome, and this line is very good. This is one of the 10 best offensive lines in the National Football League, guys. Legitimately. They were awesome a year ago. Olu Fashanu continues to grow. Armand Membu was really good. Joe Tippmann is great. They signed Dylan Parham, who had a rough year for the Raiders, but is still pretty young. And they got Josh Myers at center, who was solid last year. So, I think that's a good unit. Garrett Wilson will be an effective contributor. They could use a wide receiver too, but I assume they're going to draft one. The pieces are there offensively to make it happen. Again, if Frank Reich does not destroy everything, which he probably will. However, on the defensive side of the football, I have to believe this team is going to be better a year later. They were one of the worst units in football because of their lack of a pass rush and their secondary. Everything kind of just fell apart. But you bring in Minkah Fitzpatrick, who is a veteran on the back end, who even with his reduced athleticism is still one of the smartest players on the football field. And his athleticism is greatly reduced. I doubt he can physically decline much more in that respect, to be honest. But he's still a good football player. And you bring in Tavondre Sweat, who I think is a great football player. You just talked about that. That's an absolute steal for New York to be able to get him as young as he is. Demario Davis was incredible last year, even at his age. He's a guy who can be the green dot, who can be the leader of your defense. These are the kind of pieces that, we just talked about Tennessee. They're bringing in replacement level starters. These are legitimate elevators that they're bringing in on the defensive side. And I think that raises the ceiling of a defense with a guy and a coach in Aaron Glenn, who we forget just 2 years ago was a coordinator of the year candidate. So I trust that they are going to be able to take a big step on defense in 2025. And as long as Frank Reich does not destroy everything we know and love and ruin Geno Smith once again, I think we will be okay.
I still think the offense sucks, and Garrett Wilson has to stay on the field. But yes, you're right on the defensive side.
Yeah,
and I like Aaron Glenn. I wasn't out on Aaron Glenn. I was in the minority of people who said he should not. This team was a dumpster fire. But I can't get with Geno. I can't get with relying on your only viable receiving target to be Garrett Wilson, who I don't think has stayed healthy in the last 2 years at all, and then Breece Hall, who doesn't even want to be there. It just gets ugly. You know what I mean?
Now, let's say, I'll give you a hypothetical. Let's say this team drafts Omar Cooper.
Oh, okay, at 16.
At 34,
33. Thank God.
33, or Denzel Boston at 33. Does that change your outlook on the New York Jets in 2026?
No.
No, I'm literally just too negative about Geno Smith, I think.
Well,
I mean they'll be fine. I think,
yeah,
which is better than they. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
yeah,
It is a big like banking on Geno it's putting you in a Raiders situation where like if he's good you'll win 6 games. If he's bad you're drafting Manning next year.
yeah. I agree. I think we have to acknowledge too, the film last year with Geno is so far apart from what it was 2 years ago, from a mental perspective. So it makes me believe.
Be over. Like this
I
podcast
don't
will get
know,
taken
man.
off air.
I'm just saying. Maybe there's still some gas left. All right. I'm just leaving it out there.
Yeah.
All right. We can go to best signing now. I'll let
Okay.
you start off, Mike.
Yeah, not falling too far from the tree. I think it's Linderbaum. I'm Barry. As somebody who played, I mean, I played offensive line in high school. Like, I was like,
He did. He did.
I think it's an all-time podcast moment.
all I wanted to say was like I understand how much more pressure and responsibility is on the center than every other lineman, and how much more, bro. Like,
That's such a dig.
it's not that funny.
No.
You're
sorry.
good. You're 10. You're playing football.
No, I'm sorry.
God.
I'm sorry.
All right, finish up.
Can we cut all that out?
No.
We can get some like,
It wasn't that funny. You don't like talk.
oh. Wow.
What's so funny about that?
I was not expecting you to mention your high school football career, Michael.
I just wanted to say, like, from playing offensive line, like, I understand that, like, the center is it wasn't me.
Yes,
Like,
it is more valuable than people think.
Yeah.
it's more valuable. They like most time in the film room. It's the most taxing position on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And Jackson Powers Johnson sucks at it. He'll be a fine guard,
Yeah.
but he cannot do any of the responsibilities that the NFL center has. And I think having Tyler Linderbaum in there as your safety cushion for Fernando Mendoza and just adding one of the best linemen in the league is just an all-time win. I mean, me and Carter were talking about it earlier. A good not earlier, but like a couple weeks ago, I think, like a good free agency, signing a good offensive line in free agency will always be a good signing. Like anytime you draft like a average to above average offensive lineman, it's a good signing. So signing a top 3 center in football, good, very good signing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Carter respond to that.
Yeah. I like the Linderbaum addition. He's a great player. I too played high school football, so yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I think it's a good addition. Obviously, he's a very proven player, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see. He's a clear improvement on one of the worst units at any position in the league.
Yeah.
Guys, I had a panic attack. I turned around and Michael Lorenzen was on the mound.
Yeah. I'm saying.
No, I'm in agreement. Like I said, when you have that much money, it's hard to overpay there. So
Yeah. And it takes less of the pressure off of like the rookies they got last year, like Charles Grant and who else? Who's their right tackle? Didn't they have a young right tackle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget
Was
his
that-
name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They
Was that
they
Parm?
drafted
No.
no. Parm's gone. They drafted
Yeah.
2 guys pretty early. I don't think DJ Glaze starts anymore, but either way, I think having him on that line would be just like especially helps them in the draft, so like they don't have to be like, well, shit, like Jake Slaughter's gonna start every game. We're gonna hope to God that Fernando Mendoza survives, and
Yeah.
having a proven leader in there at like the signal caller of the line, I think is extremely valuable. And
Yeah.
$28 million sounds like a ton for a center, but as Michael said, like center is probably the most undervalued position in my opinion. And
It's the second most important position on the team.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue becomes, right, and we talked about it too, where he fits schematically. But when you throw it in Clint Kubiak, where he's been running the same zone scheme his whole career, like they run the same thing in Baltimore, I think, that helps the quarterback too, and being able to match and help him develop in that sense. So I'm all for it. But Carter, what you got?
For best signing, I'm going to go Jamel Dean. I think that he had been one of the more underrated corners his entire run in Tampa. Almost said Miami. In Tampa, I think that last year was about one of the best years that he had, if not the best year he had. I think that to get a player who is one of the better, and when I say one of the better, I mean the top 15 to 16 outside corners in the league at minimum, just like eyeballing it. I think to get him for only 3 years, 36 million, I think they make off very well there for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, absolutely. PFF's top rated corner a year ago. Like, he might be 31 years old.
Underrated he is.
Yeah.
My good friend Alex, big Steelers fan, I texted him the news. I was like, dude, you all got Jamel Dean. He was like,
who?
Why should I care?
No.
Yeah, no casual fan. Like, he had no clue who this guy is. I'm like, wow, how do you not know who Jamel Dean is? Like, it's awesome.
Yeah. No, I mean, the worry is that it's another Slay, but with how physical he was a year ago, I know corner play is very volatile. And he's certainly been volatile throughout his career. It's like every other year he's essentially hurt. But if they can somehow manage to keep him healthy, I think that's one of the biggest deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. For my signing, we talked about earlier. It's Devin Lloyd to Carolina. It's just a home run. I can't believe he got his. I mean, he's still like a little decent money, but I can't believe he wasn't getting paid like 15 a year, or even more, just because of the season he had. Like he was in the depoy competition for a few weeks. He was intercepting the ball at like a rate that was like pretty much unheard of for a linebacker. And he's still great in coverage. He's a great tackler, and those are 2 things that the that unit for the Panthers has been lacking for pretty much since like Thomas Davis or like Shaq Thompson. So
absolutely,
yeah, it was the biggest position of need in my opinion. For I mean that and edge, but like that level of the defense was just a mess last year, and they still made the playoffs. And I think their defense kept them out of games, but bringing in like a bona fide All-Pro player for 3 years, $45 million to again to wear the green dot is like that's fantastic, and I think the Panthers got an amazing player.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. He was PFF's top-rated coverage linebacker a year ago, and just a guy.
Hello.
Okay. Just a guy that continues
You have a home phone in your room?
Yep.
Why?
We have house phones still. Like it's like
Yeah,
the
but not-
but why do
I
you
have
have that
my
in your
own
room?
phone.
huh? Oh, I'm not.
Why would-
I'm in my dad's office.
Oh,
Zach hijacked my room.
Oh, okay.
But yes, Devin Lloyd,
guy.
fantastic coverage linebacker, fantastic tackler, and I mean a huge blow to Jacksonville for them not to be able to get this done. I mean, they were going to be my least improved team. They didn't end up being so, but for him not to be able to get back there with the amount of cap space they had and the market that he had, I guess that was very surprising to me. But great player. I think he'll fit perfectly on what could be one of the most improved defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
My signing was Cade Mays signing with the Detroit Lions. He signed a 2-year deal for $25 million. The Detroit Lions were notoriously awful as far as their guard play as season ago. Tate Ratledge, I guess, improved over the course of the season. It was a little inconsistent to start, and then he eventually got there. But Christian Mahogany was bad for the entirety of the NFL season, and it was obvious that they needed an improvement. So bringing a guy who was incredibly experienced, allow Ratledge to continue to play right guard, right? That is his strength. And Mays is young as well. He's a guy who's going to be able to continue to develop and grow with this young Lions team and be a part of this core in the way that their former offensive linemen like Graham Glasnow, like Taylor Decker, the kind of guys that built this foundation have been, and hopefully try to get this run game on track, which was so inconsistent a year ago because of the inconsistent play of the offensive line. So I think they go out in this draft, they get a tackle or a guard or both, and just continue to fortify. But this could quickly, again, become one of the best teams, not just in the NFC, but in football, if they're able to nail this over the course of the draft. And that starts with the signing of Mays, who was fantastic for the Panthers a year ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Centers, they run the world.
Centers, they're so important.
Yeah, they run the world. All right. Least improved team.
All right, well, I'll go first. Ethan talked about the Titans being the most, right? You said the Titans, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, the rest of the division, you could literally throw a dartboard at and pick one of them for the least improved because they had 3 of the worst off seasons in the league. You touched on the Jaguars.
I think the Texans did okay.
Yeah.
You touched on the Jags. They lost everyone and didn't really bring anything in that was of big notice.
Yeah.
Braden Smith is fine, but we still have no center or.
And Reed Blankenship.
Oh, we don't need safety. We have 4 safeties. Play the young guy. Don't spend the money.
Re-signing Sheldon Rankins.
It's fine.
That was good.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah, anybody, all of
Ed
our
Ingram.
interior
Ed Ingram.
defensive linemen.
Yeah, Ed Ingram.
But I'm not picking the Texans anyway. I'm picking the Colts.
Yeah.
They lost Nick Cross. They lost Naval Gallimore. They lost Kwity Paye. They lost Braden Smith. They lost Rodney Thomas.
Yeah.
A lot of losses, right? So they follow this up by signing Arden Key, Michael Clemens, Derek Nadai, giving Alec Pierce the entire GDP of the Bahamas, and signing Daniel Jones to an extension. Alec Pierce, good football player, does not deserve the entire GDP of the Bahamas. Not a thing for a guy who I don't think is like a wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
Losing Braden Smith to a line that struggled by itself last year, especially in the latter half of the season. Don't love that. Don't love losing Kwity Paye. Don't love replacing them. Like they've only signed 3 players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't love bringing back Daniel Jones. I think if you asked me when they were 8-1 last year, they definitely should have brought back Daniel Jones. But if you watched the Colts last year, you would know that, Kansas City shut them down in week 12, and that was pretty scary because the offense looked completely incompetent. And then Houston shut them down the next week.
It's Houston.
And yes, it's Houston, great, but it looked like they were completely figured out. And I understand that after that week is the Jacksonville week. Daniel Jones end of the second quarter destroys his leg. It's gone forever. Like they were getting crushed because the offense couldn't move the ball. Like I like Shane Steichen. He's good. The offense was figured out. I don't think like they were going to lose that Jacksonville game anyway. They go to play Seattle, then they go to play San Francisco, Jacksonville, Houston. Like that's their gauntlet schedule they go through. I think even if Daniel Jones stayed healthy, they end up third in the division.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to go beat Houston again. I don't think they're going to beat. I mean, they weren't going to beat Jacksonville. They weren't going to beat Seattle. The only win here. It looks like a sure thing was San Francisco, who was one of the best teams in the league in the second half of last year. I think they really got screwed over schedule-wise, how easy it was in the beginning to how, terrible it was at the end. But I think that's also the blueprint of a bad offense. The line that got worse, and you're banking on the same scheme that was figured out last year, working with a quarterback who it was so nice that they were able – it was like watching all of Daniel Jones' strengths come out at once. What is happening in football for the first time ever? Because he was terrible at Duke. And he's rolling out of the pocket, and they're moving the pocket. They're using the quarterback run game with his legs. And now his left Achilles is made of this squishy. This is this is his knee. So how does that bode for a quarterback who's relying on getting out of the pocket and running? Tell me. What have you told me?
Yeah.
Not a good sign, right?
No. Here's where I push back though. A little.
So I'm just saying to not make any investment on the offensive line or to truly make the defense better because they just replaced the mid defensive lineman that left with more mid defensive linemen. The schedule's hard next year. It's like, I don't know. Like Houston and Jacksonville are still better.
Yeah.
And the Titans we talked about not.
They're better.
It wasn't the best offseason in terms of like signing high level players, but they don't roster turnaround. They have real players on the team now. They're not starting my cousin Bob from Buttfuck, Louisiana at receiver anymore. Like they got real players. Like
Timur DK was an All-Pro. Be nice.
Sorry, I think it looks very scary. And, Shane, you sent the thing the other day. Let me see if I can find it. And it's a picture. It's a really good jersey swap. Like it's like a jersey swap for a coach, and it's Shane Steichen in this. It's this.
Well,
that's what's happening in 2027.
When Sean Mannion's our head coach. Yes.
Sean Mannion's a dog, so it's okay.
I agree with you for the most part. I'm a little less concerned about the line stuff, simply because I think Braden Smith, as much as I like his signing for the Texans, was not perfect last year. And I think they have drafted well enough and developed well enough on the line, right? I like Tanner Bortolini. I think Jalen Travis is a guy who they drafted a couple of years ago. I think he could be okay. I'm less worried about that. And I'm less worried about teams figuring them out to an extent, I think, because I think part of the issue became Jones's injury and his lack of mobility as the weeks went on. They still regressed to the mean, I agree with you, simply because teams were not necessarily expecting the deep passing attack of their team and the way their receivers played, and playing a lot of single high, and they were just creating a ton of explosives, and then that went away.
And by the way,
they
can't draft a receiver in the first round because they don't have the first round.
They don't have first round pick. I know.
So it's looking actually like really shitty.
But I am higher on Josh Downs than a lot of people.
Very sad.
Josh Downs is also not on the team.
Josh Downs
on the team. Josh Downs, I think, can be a huge breakout receiver a year from now. Yeah. He is a fantastic route runner at all three levels. Yeah. He's a really incredible player. And I think Pierce can continue to develop his skill set, right? He's not just a deep threat, and I think we saw that. He has kind of the short burst explosiveness that continue to grow. So I think there's avenues to where they're not like the worst offense in the league. The defense
But is there an avenue
is where I'm
to
worried.
get better than they were
No,
last year?
they
I don't
won't.
think there is.
There is no room to
And
get
they
better,
went
and I'm
8 and
worried
9.
about that on defense. I think that's where I'm worried. I'm worried about their edge room. I'm worried
Yeah,
about
it's bad.
the linebacker room, like
So am I.
the secondary. Like
but
I think,
I'm not concerned. I'm
There's no
happy.
good unit on that.
yeah, I think the defense could legitimately be the worst defense in the league a year from now. So that's where my concerns lie.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me happy. Stupid franchise.
All right, Carter, you got something a little less salty. Do you have any putty for us?
I do not. I do not. No putty. I've
Throw the headset.
no. I'm not going to throw the headset, but I do have a team that I'm very negative about, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. I like Boye Mafe. I think he's a fine player. I think he's noticeably worse than Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Which is something that you can live with because it happened in free agency. You found a player that is a viable replacement. You found a good player. My concern comes from everything else. You've downgraded there, and looking at the rest of the defense, which is the issue with the team. People will talk about the offensive line a lot, which is bad, but they could get the best offensive line in the league tomorrow, and they would still be a bad team because of how bad this defense is. And they, in particular, had needed linebackers. I believe that this may not have been accurate. It may have only been accurate to the point where I saw their grades on the Sunday Night Football screen. But there was a point in time where their two starting linebackers were the two worst graded on PFF. And
That probably checks out.
to not add anybody of note in that linebacker room, it's gross. It's a really gross situation. And it's hard to be encouraged when they've got so much money being spent on their offense to have such a weak defense. Because when you have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, you're supposed to be winning. You're supposed to be winning football games. You're supposed to be winning a lot of them, and they haven't been, and they're going to continue to not be winning a lot.
He's among one of the most tenured coaches in the NFL right now, which is.
I don't know how he made it past the first year, honestly.
Yeah. He was like the special teams assistant in New England. I didn't even know how he got a job in the first place.
I would have been like whatever if they fired him after they made the Super Bowl. And like they made the Super Bowl.
Well,
like obviously
I think there's a complex relationship between the quarterback and the coach, and I think that makes it right. And
it's like a McDermott situation. It's like he's just staying there because he's this guy.
Yeah. Well, and we talk I think even more so than the McDermott because Burrow's preferences are rooted in his offense, essentially. Yeah. His desire to go strictly out of the shotgun, his desire for mostly concepts over the middle of the field, as far as the route trees. It all is baked into the Zach Taylor offense, and I think that makes
really
it very
well. If
hard
only
to
there was
fire.
an offensive coordinator for the last 3 years who's been available to hire as a head coach, who may or may not have actually implemented him into that offense for the first time in his life and turned him into a quarterback for 60 touchdowns and 5,000 yards in one season.
Who's that?
Joe Brady.
Yeah.
We've talked about
it's all Joe Brady. Joe Brady made Joe Burrow. Like Joe Brady should be the head coach of the Bengals. Like
I just don't. I don't
believe
think he would. I don't think he would ever advocate for that. I just don't. I think they're interlinked.
I'm not disagreeing. Like it just doesn't make sense.
But Joe Brady is also significantly more complex now that he's reached the NFL, right?
And that's fine. I understand,
Yeah.
but the root of what Joe Burrow loves about Zach Taylor is
Yeah.
what Edo and Joe Brady gifted him at LSU. That turned him into
Absolutely.
what he is. And
Yeah.
I'm sure if Joe Brady went over to Cincinnati, you'd be watching the 2019 LSU offense. Who also had Jamar Chase, by the way.
Possibly. I think schematically they are flawed there to an extent where, even if they're a top 10 offense, I don't view them as a team with the same ceiling as, say, I don't know, the Lions, who we just talked about, simply because I think they are so limited in the ways that they can beat you. And I think that's important, even beyond their issues defensively.
I agree.
No.
They just suck. Shitty organization.
All right.
Makes me sad.
Makes you sad. Atheliditis.
All right. This is not necessarily like least improved, more as just is the most disappointing relative to how much money they had, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers. It's just their line was. I mean, they started the season without Rashawn Slater, and then they eventually lost Joe Alt. It was an absolute disaster, and they responded to that by signing Tyler Biadasz, who was like according to PFF, like almost top 10 center, which is like okay,
Very good.
yeah, like it's like he's solid. And then you get Cole Strange for $7 million a year. How? I mean, we talked about like these contracts are just inflated because of the cap.
Justin
but
Herbert.
Cole Strange, former first round pick Cole Strange.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
speaking of that, former first round pick Trevor Penning.
Yeah.
Like they responded by getting him replacement level guys when there was a solid enough class. Like they could have brought back Zion Johnson. They could have signed Ed Ingram. But instead, they also gave out $7 million a year to a blocking tight end, Charlie Kohler, who was the third string in Baltimore. And I mean, they had. I think the Khalil Mack signing is solid. I think $18 million for 1 year. Go ahead. And then T.R. Tart signing was a little bit before free agency, but love that to solidify their interior defensive line, which was a real concern going into the season. But this whole offseason should have been predicated on Justin Herbert almost died out there against the Texans. We have to do something about it. And then they did that by signing below replacement level talent, and then I guess you got Alec Ingold too, who's like, okay, this seems like a Jim Harbaugh doing his like best like 2020 I'm the smartest guy in the room. Look at me. They'll never see it coming of how much I utilize Alec Ingold. Like, okay. And then they just signed like some depth linebackers, like whatever. Key Mitchell's a fun player, but
yeah,
it's just when so many of the Chargers flaws like rear directly head at you and you respond with this is really indicative of just a team that is not particularly serious in competing in a conference that is as competitive as it's ever been.
Yeah. See, I'm in agreement with you with the not serious about competing.
Yeah.
But I'm for, weirdly enough, the Kohler and the Ingold and the Keaton Mitchell of it all. I think it's
kind of fun, but
yeah,
it's a bit. It's also unserious.
Huh?
It's not what they're going for. Like
it could be though. I do believe that. I think with Mike McDaniel at the helm, he wants to bring in his guys, and one of the essential pieces of that is having that explosive running back and having the blocking fullback who can also, create yards after catch and the blocking tight end. So I'm for those elements.
You know what else helps with the Mike McDaniel offense?
Yeah.
A quarterback who's not going to be dead.
Yeah.
Who we had for the last 3 years.
But I think the Biotish signing signals, and I felt that was a fantastic signing for them to be able to get him for the price that they did after we just got done talking about Linderbaum for $30 million. I mean, I think Tyler Biotish is well above half the player that Tyler Linderbaum is, and he's getting less than half of the money. And I don't know that they're done yet. I don't, because there's a lot of guards sitting out there, and they have a lot of picks in this draft. So I'm cautious with the line. And I think the other thing they could have done is re-signed Odafe Owe for $25 million per.
And I don't think they should have done that. So
yeah, insane to me. So that's why I'm cautious to be critical, even if I agree with you that they're probably like a worse football team as a whole.
Yeah, it just felt like you had to use this offseason as like a come to Jesus moment, like really, like set yourself above your AFC West competitors.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, to your point, like the other AFC West competitors all got better. Like it's not just like this is just the Raiders. The Broncos are probably going to be a better football team. They re-signed Justin Strnad. They have all these draft picks. Who knows what they're going to be on the AJ Brown market? And Kansas City, Kenneth Walker, Logan Gilman, like it's all there. So we'll find out. But yeah, I agree there. My least improved team is the Green Bay Packers, which makes me sad.
Very sad.
Because you guys all know I am Mr. Packers man when it comes to our NFL predictions every year. And this team just looks significantly worse to me than it did a year ago. To start, you lose your defensive coordinator. And I was not like quite as high on what Jeff Hatley did last year as I was with what he did over the second half of the 2025 stretch. I didn't think they utilized Micah Parsons to his full, I guess, capabilities, even if he was injured at times. But to replace what Halfley does as far as disguising coverages and mixing up looks on quarterbacks with the mind-numbing simplicity that can be the Jonathan Gannon experience is truly harmful. And then to place on top of that, removing most of your depth and making it harder for Gannon to really, stay set in what he wants to do. I know you weren't going to keep Rashawn Gary, but to let him leave the building at this time without any kind of pay cut, I think is tough. You bring in Javon Hargrave, who was awful last year, legitimate, might not have any gas left football player. Zaire Franklin, also not a good football player. There is a reason why the Indianapolis Colts look to move him, and it is not because he is a bad podcaster. And the secondary was okay last year, but I think it still has the same holes, especially at the corner spots. And you saw them able to get beat a lot of times, even when they were fully healthy, when their line wasn't good enough. And with their line likely taking a step back and Parsons likely not going to be healthy for a good bit, I don't really see a scenario where they're a top 10 defense again last year. And that was kind of their DNA, because this offense on the other side can be so inconsistent. And guess what? The offense loses their number one wide receiver. So,
which is depressing enough to say to begin with.
Yeah,
it is, but it just all piles up to be not a good situation in Green Bay in a division that continues to get better and better and better. So I am anti all this. Oh, and I forgot, they lose their starting center too. So yeah. Not good.
not good.
All right. Worst signing. Close it off on a high note, of course.
Yeah.
I changed mine.
Yeah.
They signed this guy for 13 cents. I still feel like it's an overpay, because I just feel like this guy does not belong in the National Football League anymore. It's the Falcons signing Tua.
No,
Come on.
It's just
the league minimum.
Come on.
It's Penix on the upside. It doesn't make any sense. Wow, we have a lefty quarterback who's injury prone and might not be the same. Okay. Let's go get a lefty quarterback who's injury prone and might not be the same. What are we doing? It's like looking at Michael Penix or Tua, and it's like the Family Guy clip. Well, we could have Michael Penix, or we could go sign another lefty quarterback who sucks. It could even be Michael Penix. Like, what's the point? Like, he's bad. He was the worst quarterback in the league last year. He was bottom 5 the year before. He's a walking concussion risk. He's a walking Antonio Brown risk. It doesn't make any sense.
Antonio Brown risk?
Like, I'm straight was going insane. He's not not good. Like he's bad. Like at least like Michael Penix, like all right, well there's divisions there like a little bit with some of what
it's kind of over, unfortunately.
But like bringing Tua doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. They should have just got a steady hand, and they got the least steady hand in the sport. So
if the idea is Penix might be just like the injury prone and never like actually like start for us, and we want to compete in games, then we should like get a guy who could be a bridge, and they just got a guy who's just straight up bad.
Yeah. I'm completely on the other side of this. I think Tua is the bridge. I think.
But that's
you look at
does Tua know he's the bridge?
Yes,
I'm certain he does.
Does Tua think he's the bridge to success?
Absolutely. He just got cut.
Well, does he believe in himself? I mean, sure, but
sure.
They signed him for the league minimum. I don't think that he thinks.
Yeah. You're
that
bringing
they're
in a guy
to be a star player.
No, and you're bringing in a guy who just 2 seasons ago was still, I mean, if a very, very imperfect quarterback, still a guy who, was accurate over the middle of the field and has the touch to, make almost any NFL throw. It's just the injury concerns and the decision making, which I understand that's the same thing as Penix, but with the quarterbacks that are available as bridge guys on the market, I don't know, besides Kyler Murray, how many have legitimate cases to be, a top 20 quarterback at any point in their NFL career. Yeah. So I'm for it.
I mean, I just don't like it. It's a stability thing for me. It's just because I wanted to be outside the box, but like at that point, like I would just let Penix ride it out until the wheels fall off.
Well, but he's not going to play week 1.
There's a higher chance he plays week 1 than Patrick Mahomes does.
Yeah, but I mean, this is essentially like, would you rather sign Tua or would you rather sign Russell Wilson? Like if we phrase it like that.
I'd rather sign Russell Wilson.
I would rather.
For what?
I'd rather. I mean, if Carter's just right, I'd rather a vet be in the room than Tua.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I can't do that. I think Russell Wilson has shown us how limited he is, and
oh my God, Tua's limited. Tua is Mr. Limited.
Russell Wilson cannot throw a football that is not a 60-yard like looping fastball to a receiver. There's one throw he can make.
60-yard throw.
You might be able to.
Tua can't even make the 60-yard
throw.
Tua
can't. Tua, even if you legit can't run like any offense with Russell Wilson right now because his legs are gone and he can't really make underneath throws right now. There's not much of anything you can do with him.
Yeah.
There's not actually anything you can do with Tua outside of this Mike McDaniel system.
There is though.
I mean, that's why he was. That's why he was the league minimum signing.
Yeah.
I just think he's a bad player. Doesn't belong in the league.
Let's just move on.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
I went Wan'Dale Robinson.
Bad signing.
Don't like it at all. Ab and I talked about this on the Adam Dent show. He wins. He had production, but it was more of just the fact that he was in the slot on a team that lost their top guy very early in the year. This is a serviceable slot receiver that's going to be making $17.5 million a year.
Yeah.
I don't think he wins. I don't think he wins over top enough to justify that. I don't think he's enough of a vertical threat to justify that. It's beyond me. I'm trying to not be too brief, but I really don't know what to say about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talk about it every day, I feel like, in our group chat.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like every single
Wanda.
time a contract came out, we kept saying
Yeah,
over
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
over again, oh, this isn't bad because of Wandale Robinson. Like,
Yeah.
I think I said that about the Dobbs contract.
yeah. Yeah.
Like that's a lot of money for Romeo Dobbs. Like actually, that's like it's less than
Yeah.
Wanda Robinson, and he's
Yeah.
75% as good as Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah.
So,
And the problem is not that Wandale Robinson is a bad football player, like Carter kind of said.
he's
The problem is that you're
he's like
essentially
he's a three,
you are replicating the Brian Dable offense in a new destination, and that is like your big vision for the team.
which is like
And that just does
sure.
not strike me as optimistic when
No.
you're looking to develop a young quarterback. Like, I can't buy that. I'm
unless
sorry.
it's like Jackson Dart, which is like okay.
Even so, like
It's yeah.
yeah, the simplicity of it all, I think, just is almost insulting to what Cam Ward's abilities are. And I know not everybody stands on the same page on Cam Ward as I do, but
I like him.
yeah, I can't buy this.
Yeah. Okay. Mine, the second I saw it, I'm like, that's got to be the one. It's Bradley Chubb, 3 years. I think it's $45 million to the Buffalo Bills, and just it's unfathomable that he's getting that much money for that long on a playoff caliber team. It's like he has not both played a full season of football or contributed in a positive way to a football team probably since he was on the Denver Broncos 3 years ago.
He was
And
okay in Miami 2 years ago.
he was like whatever, but he was getting paid like he was like a Pro Bowl level player, like a borderline All Pro, and he just was not that. And I guess it's just, again, it's with the money. Like all these contracts are kind of crazy, and this is among the worst of them, just because he has shown so little juice at a position that requires it, and is so non-committal as a run defender for a team that needs it. And for a Bills team that is so in flux right now, they needed a solid guy that you can really rely on that defensive line. And of all guys, this was like probably the least intriguing option, especially considering how much money he got. And I think this really could hurt the Bills in the long term.
Yeah. No, I
Bad
agree.
football player, bad amount of money.
Yeah. Bad combo. Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Do I need to get the squishy back out to show us what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God. I have a player who has also been the epitome of the squishy, and that is Alontae Taylor, who signs with the Tennessee Titans. A lot of Tennessee Titans today. This is the most Tennessee Titans I think we've ever mentioned in a podcast. I wouldn't expect any less from the 100th episode. This is what you came here for your Tennessee Titans season preview. But 3 years, $60 million for a guy who has essentially been an average slot corner for the majority of his career. And I get that he's young, and I get that there are flashes, especially in man coverage, and he's a good tackler. But to ask of him, I assume to move outside, because there's no way you're paying $20 million a year for a slot corner, which he's never done before. For a defense that is still struggling to rebuild their pass rush, and their safety room is kind of abysmal as well. I think this is beyond terrible, and I trust Robert Saleh always to be able to put his pieces in the right places. But this is a piece that simply I think doesn't make sense given the rest of their room.
Yeah. To
Works
me,
for
that one
me.
was a head scratcher. But to touch on what you said, I trust Solid too much to say that it's the worst signing.
Yeah.
I give him the benefit of the doubt with a lot, and maybe I'll look stupid in December or even earlier, but it's hard for me to go that heavily against a guy that he wanted on his defense.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think
This is
the
$20 million.
fact that they followed it up with signing Cordell Flott for 3 years and $45 million also tells me
Yeah, that's
that maybe there are other voices in the room that maybe I trust a little less.
Yeah.
Some maybe on
Some
the heavier
bald
set
men who
side
coach
with
at
large
Alabama.
beards.
Yeah.
So that worries me a little bit. But yeah. Yeah, we will find out. All right. I think that is all we've got. Am I correct?
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Do we have any other thoughts on the 2026 Tennessee Titans?
No.
They'll
Bad.
win maybe 5 games.
Okay.
Yep. If they're
And
lucky.
their uniforms were pretty disappointing.
They
Yep.
are. That's true. We haven't done uniforms in a while. Oh man. Now we know we're getting into the off season. That might have
Yeah.
to
We
be.
haven't gotten
I guess
the
it's draft
Falcons
time,
yet.
but
We haven't gotten the
It's
Falcons
not
yet.
draft
but
time, man. I don't hear
This
nothing
is
about the damn draft. You got baseball coming next episode.
that's true.
This is true.
This is true. Be on the lookout. I will be ready.
No,
I'll
you
be
won't
ready.
be.
No, I will be. I'm gonna be grinding film all week.
Michael Lorenzen is single-handedly losing against the WBC right now.
He's losing them, the WBC? Okay, I'm a little behind then. So while we're at it, fire the WBC umpires.
Yep. Into the
I'm
sun.
firing Bruce Pearl. Can we get 2 firings in?
He's not
Dude, we can get as
employed.
many fires as you want in.
What
Yeah,
did Bruce
okay.
Pearl do?
Fire Dave Dombrowski.
He's trying to convince everyone that his son should be in the tournament with 16 losses.
Oh, yeah.
Ah. Yeah, it's
Fire Josh Harris.